Someone join with iPhone.
Balram Prasad, Prabhu.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. God bless to Srila Prabhupada. Rename my profile. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Raja Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brinda Vaneswari Rishabhanu Suthe Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Kadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading from Canto 2. Canto 2 is called Cosmic Manifestation. And then we are reading from chapter 12 to 16. 16. So where we are at this point is Lord Brahma is telling about how Krishna is a source of everything for us, especially the place we are living in, the house, the body actually, the house, and the whole earth and the whole middle manifestation is the source. Of course, it's also called Maya energy or middle energy or modes of nature. And so far, the elements are created. Like we have 24 primary elements for all this creation. There are 5 bhutas, pancha-bhutas, gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Everything in this world is made from that. And then we also have mind, intelligence, false ego. And then we have karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, eyes, nose, whatever that requires the knowledge, and then working in senses, legs, hands, and so on. So all these are created, and Krishna also, after these elements are created, the Garbha is formed by the Lord's Maya energy again, and that's when Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters, and from there, networking is happening. Now, this section is mostly about Karya Srishti. Previous ones are Karna Srishti. Now we are in the Karya Srishti, and we are in the final parts of the Karya Srishti. So Karya Srishti meaning the elements are created, and now Garbhodaksha Vishnu is transferring to the whole universe and also to us. Like he has created the eyes and the sense objects and so on. So now he wants to see. Through that, he creates subtle, transfers subtle sense organs and gross sense organs to both universal form and to us. So here in the last verse of that section, where Lord Brahma is telling that Dharma, Krishna is the source of Dharma also. So we'll read the verse and translation. See, technology. It is nice. My precision is like I'm getting a feeling of how Garbhodaksha Vishnu is the mother, how much he's doing, like how the mother gives the body and everything to the child, so that continues. So like it's a feeling as I was getting when I was reading this section. So that's the part, that's a goal. We want to improve our meditation and affection for the Lord. Dharmasya mamatubhyam cha kumaranam bhavasya cha vijnanasya cha sattvasya parasyatma parayanam. Dharmasya mamatubhyam cha, mama, mine and yours, dharma, my dear Narada, the dharma of you and me, and also kumaranam and bhavasya. Bhavasya is you actually, the Lord Shiva, sorry, bhavasya is Lord Shiva. And vijnanasya cha sattvasya, the transcendental knowledge and the truth. Parasyatma parayanam. Parasyam is great. This is great. Whatever dharma we are feeling, what are the good intentions, good qualities we may have, or we are carrying forward as like a board, is actually the source is Lord's consciousness. Dharmasya of religious principles or of Yamaraj, principles of Yamaraj, mama, mine, tubhyam of yours, and Kumaranam of 4 Kumaras, Bhavasya of Lord Shiva, Cha also, Vijnanasya of transcendental knowledge, Cha also, Sattvasya of truth, Parasya of the great personality, Atma consciousness, Parayanam, dependent. So here, how Krishna is transferring good qualities, the dharma, the religion, and truthfulness, the Sattvasya, to the universal form and also to all of us. So also the consciousness of that great personality is a board of religious principles, mine, yours, and those of the 4 bachelors, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara, and Sananda. That consciousness is also the abode of true and transcendental knowledge. 13 to 16. Now in these 4 verses, really like Lord Brahma is repeating certain places really like to make a point. So now he tells everything. Krishna also tells in the Bhagavad Gita, I cover everything with my spark. So this is the elaboration, little bit elaboration of that In this verse, he says, everything you, me, or Devatas, Gandharvas, or trees, land, anything, it's all under the shelter and protection of Lord's universal form. Aham bhavan bhavaschaiva tayime munayo graja surasura naranaga khaga mruga sarisrupaha gandharvapsaro yaksha raksha bhuto ganoragaha pasava pitara siddha vidyadharascharanadruma अन्ये च विविधा जीव जलस्थल नभोकसः ग्रहाक्षकैतवस्तारस्तदितः स्तन इतन्वः सर्वं पुरुष एवेदं भूतं भव्यं भवच्छयत् तेनेदम् आवृतं विश्वं वितस्तिम् अधितिष्ठति. It's a nice glorification in this verse. So Lord Brahma is telling, it's just 9 inches. He's doing like magnanimous things. Translation: beginning from me, Brahma, down to you and Bhava, Shiva, all the great sages who were born before you, the Devatas, the demigods, the demons, the Nagas, the human beings, the birds, the bees, as well as reptiles, etc., and all phenomenal manifestations of the universes, namely the planets, stars, asteroids, luminaries, lightning, thunder, and the inhabitants of the different planetary systems, namely the Gandharvas, Apsaras, Yakshas, Rakshas, Bhutaganas, Uragas, Pasus, Pitas, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Charnas, and all other different varieties of living entities, including the birds, bees, trees, and everything that be, are all covered by universal form of the Lord, namely past, present, and future. Although he is transcendental to all of them, eternally existing in a form not exceeding 9 inches. So he's doing, he's covering. There's nothing left that he's not covering. Still magical that he's having the eternal existence in his 9 inches form intact, fully. Purpose. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his partial representation, measuring not more than 9 inches, a supersoul expands by his potency in the shape of the universal form, which includes everything manifested in different varieties of organic, inorganic materials. The manifested varieties of the universe are therefore not different from the Lord, just as gold ornaments of different shapes and forms are non-different from the original stock reserve of gold. In other words, the Lord is the Supreme Person who controls everything within the creation, and still he remains the supreme separate identity, distinct from all manifested material creation. Bhagavad Gita 9.4-5 is therefore said to be Yogeshwara. Everything rests on the potency of Lord Shri Krishna, and still Lord is different from and transcendental to all such identities. In the Vedic Purusha Shukta of the Rig Mantra, this is also confirmed. This philosophical truth of simultaneous oneness and difference was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is known as Achintya Veda Abheda Tattva. Brahma, Narada, and all others are simultaneously one with the Lord and different from the Supreme Lord. We are all one with Him, just as the gold ornaments are one in quality with stock gold, but the individual gold ornament is never equal in quantity to the stock gold. The stock gold is never exhausted, even if there are innumerable ornaments emanating from the stalk, because the stalk is Purna, complete. Even if Purnam is directed from the Purna, still the Purna remains the same Purna. This fact is inconceivable to our perfect and to our present imperfect senses. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, defined his theory of philosophy as achintya, inconceivable, and as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita as well. In the Bhagavatam, Lord Chaitanya's theory of achintya Veda, Aveda Tattva, is the perfect philosophy of the absolute truth. So, we're all children of Krishna. Of course, we say that I'm the child of my mother and father because they are giving this body and they're giving this life to us in this body in the present day. But from this section, we can really see even that material form. Let's take a detour. We ask people, do you believe in soul? So when you believe in soul, see how you have got the body from your mother and father. Similarly, soul belongs to Supreme God, Supreme Mother, and Supreme Father. That's what we say. And soul is the part and parcel of Krishna. That's what we say. But in this canto, even this material body, all the paraphernalia we are in actually is from the Lord, even though it is material. And this is a section Lord Brahma is explaining. So that way we are godly, as Prabhupada is explaining. The gold taken from the gold stock is also gold. Actually, what to speak of us, the living entity, the spirit source, or superior energy, even the material energy is, as Prabhupada is explaining, is godly, right? By his potency, everything manifested in different varieties of inorganic materials. The material varieties of the universe are therefore not different from the Lord. Isn't it amazing? So, but then we do conduct ourselves as gods, not godly. And there's a nice reason for it. So I thought I will get into a little bit technology part. I'm really liking it. So I'm going to hopefully make it easy for you all. So we know, as you see the image, we know that Krishna is there. And everything belongs to him. He is the Sarva Karana Karanam, we say, at least from the spiritual perspective.
Prabhu, the image is not showing. It's
White
a black.
screen. White.
It's not showing?
No, it's a white screen.
Oh.
I thought you were going to draw, Prabhu. It's like complete white, yeah.
Okay. So you see here Krishna?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's a beautiful Sham Sundara. He is bluish in color, threefold bending in the neck and the abdomen and the legs. And then he is holding the Govardhan. So we know that he is the supreme cause of all causes. But then there is a situation that comes that he needs to create this material creation. So then he expands into Mahavishnu. This Vishnu is called Mahavishnu. He is also called Karnodaksha Vishnu because And it also relates to current section, causal ocean. He's lying in the causal Karana ocean. He's the cause. So he expands into Karana, Dakshay, Vishnu. And then now let me share the whiteboard. Then he glances. Lord sends his glance. The glance will have he sends two things: time plus jivas, the living entities. It's like children. They want to go play. So then we say, okay, you have 1 hour and come back soon, like that, right? So he sends the jiva and the kala, time. Of course, along with jiva, here is a fascinating part. When he's sending, he also sends their karma, what they deserve. So people can have many desires. I want to play roller coaster, or I want to play in a big playground, cricket, and so on, and so on. But they may not deserve it because they have damaged themselves. They caused some harm to themselves. So we have restriction. If they are well obedient and so on, and we give them more facility. So he sends the karma and also swabhava, their own tendencies, their desires, and karma. Okay. So, but before going to that high technology part, we all know, at least whoever is in the call, this whole world is made of 24 elements. The 24 elements are working senses. Working senses. Can someone help me? So I'll also feel little encouraged, helped. Legs,
And
hands, genitals,
anus and mouth, Prabhu.
anus, and then mouth. These are the working senses. This is called karmendriyas also. And then comes knowledge acquiring senses. They are knowledge acquiring ear.
Eyes. Eyes.
Eyes.
Skin.
Skin.
Nose.
Ear, eyes, skin, nose.
Tongue.
Tongue.
Tongue. So these are the ear, nose, and eye, skin. And the subtle object, the sense object for ear.
Sound.
Sound. Then sense object. I need to go in an order here a little bit, because after sound is touch, form. Let me write it down twice. So basically I need to bring it to sound. After sound, I need to bring it to touch, form, sound, touch, form,
Taste.
taste, and smell. So ear, sense object is sound, and eyes, sense object. Let's bring the sense organ for touch is skin, right?
Vision, Prabhu.
What, Prabhu?
Vision. I mean,
No, I'm
eyes.
saying bring the touch.
Touch is for skin.
Yeah, 1 second. I think I need to delete it out. sound, touch, and smell. Those comes from ear, then touch is skin, and form is eye, and then taste is tongue, and smell is nose. Okay, these are the knowledge acquiring senses and their sense objects, and they have their related gross elements. So any of you know that. So for sound, it is the ether,
Ether.
and then for the touch, air,
Air.
and the form is fire, and the taste is water, and then this is earth. Okay, so so we have the sense organ ear, and the sense object sound, because ear receives the sound and through the ether. Okay, and then next comes from the ether comes the touch, and then from the touch air gets created. From the touch, the sense organ is skin, and then from the air form gets created, and then from form fire comes. From fire taste, and the taste comes water, and then water comes smell, and then earth. Okay, so to simplify it, we have these bhutas, like everything that is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, pancha-bhutas. Okay, how did they get created? Is first the sound is created, and the sound, with the Lord's glance, which has a time, and then jiva, which has karma and swabhava. The glance goes and stands with the sound for some time, then ether comes. From ether, it transforms into touch. So the touch transforms into air. So the explanation here is, to simply understand this, is air will have both sound and touch. Similarly, when we go to earth, the final element, it will have sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. But if you go to ether, it will not have touch, form, taste, and smell. Or if you go to fire, it will not have form, taste, and smell. There is no taste and smell. For the fire, sorry. So for the fire, there is no taste and smell. Air doesn't have form, taste, and smell. So then we'll go back now to this where what happens. Where does it send? The Lord sends his glance into Pradhan. Pradhan is nothing but material world, material nature, modes of nature, and so on. So when the glance, which has a time and jiva, stays on with pradhana, the material modes of nature starts to get differentiated. We know the three modes, right? Goodness, passion, ignorance. They are all unmixed state. They're all unmixed state. Yeah, they're like undifferentiated state. Now they start to get differentiation. That is called Mahatattva. At this point, predominantly it's mode of goodness, and then further transforms. Further, the transformation takes place. Then mode of passion becomes prominent. That's when it becomes, I think, Shutra, something like, what is it called? Yeah, Sutra Tattva. It's the Rajas. It becomes Sutra Tattva. It is said predominantly in the beginning, it's mostly mode of goodness, but in course of time, it transforms into Sutra Tattva, mode of passion becomes prominent, and that further transforms into mode of ignorance, which is the Ahankara. So Mahatattva in the beginning is when his mode of goodness is Mahatattva, and then when the passion becomes prominent, it becomes Sutra, and when further time, further penetration of the glands, the Mahatvattva gets transferred to Ahankara. This Ahankara produces many things. This Ahankara mixes with mode of goodness and creates the mind and the devatas, sense devatas. So here we have working senses and knowledge acquiring senses, right? For 10 senses. So there will be controlling deities. How we have controlling deity for water or electricity and so on. Similarly, the controlling devatas, even before the creation comes into the picture, Krishna creates them. Okay. So then also after the mind, a mode of goodness, in the mode of the Ahankara goes and mixes with mode of passion and creates senses, the knowledge acquiring and the working senses, which are 10 senses plus intelligence and what's the other one? Krishna. Life air. And then further transforms, further mixes, Ahankara mixes with mode of ignorance, creates the 5 gross elements, which is Panchabhuta, also sense objects. So these are all only the creation of elements at this point. We have 23 elements created, which is 5 gross elements, 5 sense objects, and then 10 senses, and then mind, intelligence, and also Ahankara is there, false ego is there. So these stay, just stay passively. There is nothing happen. And then in the third canto, we come to know these elements wake up and don't know what to do. So then they pray to God, and Krishna again through his Maya energy mixes them, and that way it is said it forms the Anda Garbha, that the Anda stays lying in the ocean, Karnadaksha Vishnu. Then Garbhadikshana Vishnu enters, that the universe floats, and as universal form also comes. Okay, and the current section, like the last verse we read, is the 12th one, 1 to 12, explains how Krishna, the Garbhadaksha Vishnu, transfers these senses, these elements to the Virat Rupa and to us. So the way he transfers is, he activates them is basically, he says, I want to see. So when he decides to see, there's a sense organ, subtle sense organ. It creates the sense devatas. There is some order. There's a formula for it in Bhakti Bhagavad Bodhini that says, from sense organ, so the Lord subtle sense organ, he creates a sense object, and the gross sense organ. He creates when he wants to see, he creates the eyes, and he also creates the sense object form. And furthermore, he also creates sense devata and then subtle sense organ. That's how he transfers everything to us. It's like, how the child, gets his body in the womb, and then he, the transformations takes place, slowly. So similarly, Krishna is sending everything to us. And then the 12th verse is all about how he is transferring dharma to us. So after that, Lord Brahma is confirming in the 13 to 16 verses, everything, everything, the house, the trees, the cars, anything we can say, it's all Krishna is enabling. So why is he doing all these things? Because of Swabhava. So that's the reason we are told, if we change our Swabhava, if we desire, basically something that comes out in all this is the soul doesn't have any capacity to do anything except desire. Actually, all the capacity, he is giving our senses and all this. He's giving the feel. He's even giving the intelligence. He is even giving the everything actually. So when the living entity says, I want to do things my own way, like usually how teenagers feels, right? My way, then Krishna says, it's not possible. So an example is, we want to become a best cook, for example, and you want to become a best cook, you go to the grocery store, get all the vegetables, get the stove and everything, and you mix everything, make the sabji, and we think, I am the best cook, right? But the question to ask ourselves is that we are able to go get the groceries, give the $5, $10, whatever it is, and get the stove and utensils and everything. But who is giving those elements to Krishna? So that's what helped me come to appreciate how Krishna is like our father. Like going back to the same screen. So there is Krishna, Shamsundara form, and the living entity says, I want to enjoy BMW, or I want to be a nice cook, or I want to be an engineer, and so on. And Krishna tells, okay, you can do it here, but the soul says, no, I want to do it myself. Then he says, okay. He transforms, he expands into Mahavishnu, and through Mahavishnu, he sends out, he creates this whole universe. Another interesting thing to appreciate here is, if you want to cook, we are going to the grocery and paying $5, $10 and getting everything. Imagine that if you were to do everything by yourself, you have to cultivate your own groceries, you have to build up your own gas system and everything, you have to create your own way, everything, in which you are getting in just $5, $10, right? People say that Krishna is not fair, if he allowing us to enjoy, why is he giving a lot of trouble? But where is the trouble here? Like, you're just giving $5 and getting it. He created such a nice system. But if you were to do everything on our own, how much effort it takes? Yeah. So Krishna is pretty kind, that he is doing everything and he's still fulfilling our desire to be the, I'm saying God, or we say to be great, or self-importance. Self-importance is fine, but it's addiction to the self-importance. Then Krishna has to take all this trouble of, is based on our karma. His system is pretty technical. Based on our sabhava and karma, then only the glance that differentiates the pradhan, take the ingredients, required ingredients from the pradhan. Like an example is, one has the tendency to enjoy a BMW, not an airplane or something like that. So that, based on collective karma, only those ingredients are differentiated and those ingredients get created and so on. And the same glance which is taking before creation creation, and even the present time, his creation is maintaining, and then the same glance withdraws. When he is withdrawing, everything puts back to where they are. Ear, skin, eye, tongue, everything, the pradhan and mahatattva, everything puts back. That that is a technology. So when I was going through this thing, I really felt affectionate feelings for Garbhodaksha Vishnu, how really like a mother, he's giving the whole body and whole resources, whole empowerment. And my prayer is, what we understand is only thing in our hands is desire. So my prayer is may my desires get aligned with him, at least now, with sweetness. Krishna. Again, little point about the desire. So when the question comes, what is a desire means? Is it like, I want to chant nicely? I'm desiring, but it's not happening. That's what we go through, right? So desire also means it's really meaning it. Meaning it means we also have the ability to hold our beads, or to read something about chanting, to go attend a retreat and know the importance of chanting. We all have that ability. So when we exhibit desire into that, that's when we see all the changes, and we see our spiritual nature coming out, and we see ourselves in the spiritual. Thank you so much, Prabhuji and Mataji, for staying with me. It was mind spinning, but I really wanted to observe myself more. That's the reason I put it on the board, troubling you all. Thank you. Anyone want to say anything quickly? Who can say something quickly?
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful explanation with diagram. So nice to kind of, it's so clear, but I'll have to go and listen again to make sure I've got it. Thank you, Prabhu. I have to drop off for my work. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. Solid 8:15. Hare Krishna.